Please video like and subscribe this channel. When I entered the Hall of Accord, I expected indifference. That was usually how it went for humans in alien courts, polite tolerance at best, subtle contempt at worst. We were latecomers to the galactic stage, a species still carrying the scars of its own wars, still proving we belonged among civilizations thousands of years older. What I did not expect was silence. The chamber was vast, carved from living crystal that shifted color with the emotional resonance of those inside. Tall banners of alien sigils floated weightlessly above the polished floor. Representatives from a dozen star systems stood in carefully arranged circles, their voices fading into whispers as I walked forward. I was just a courier. That was my cover, anyway. A retired combat medic turned diplomatic errand runner. The kind of human no one looked at twice. Until she saw me. A sharp intake of breath cut through the room. I looked up. The alien girl, no, not a girl, a young woman by their standards, stood beside the central dais. Her skin shimmered like moonlight on water, her eyes a radiant gold edged with violet. She wore the insignia of the Aurelian royal bloodline, unmistakable even to human eyes. She stared at me as if the galaxy had tilted off its axis. Her lips parted. Her hands trembled. Then she whispered, her voice carrying unnaturally far in the silent hall. "Mother, it's him." Every head turned. The Queen of Aurelia rose slowly from her throne. I felt my stomach drop. The Queen was ancient. Not in appearance, she looked eternally poised, powerful, but in presence. Her gaze alone carried the weight of centuries. When her eyes locked onto me, the air grew heavy, like gravity had doubled. "It is impossible," the Queen said calmly. The princess shook her head, tears forming in her luminous eyes. She took a step forward, ignoring protocol, ignoring the stunned diplomats around her. "I would know him anywhere," she said. "He's the one. The human who saved me." Murmurs erupted across the hall. Saved her. My mind raced backward through years of forgotten missions, half-buried memories, and faces I never expected to see again. Then it hit me. The wreck. The burning transport drifting near the Virex expanse. The alien child trapped inside. "Oh," I whispered. I hadn't thought of her in years. 15 years earlier, I was a combat medic aboard a human relief cruiser operating near contested space. Pirates, slavers, and rogue factions made the region a nightmare. We weren't supposed to interfere unless humans were involved. But that day, the distress signal wasn't human. It was faint, fragmented, and alien. Command ordered us to ignore it. I didn't. I took a shuttle alone. The ship I found was barely holding together, its hull torn open, atmosphere venting into space. Inside, I found survivors, 2 guards, mortally wounded, and 1 terrified alien child trapped beneath collapsed bulkhead plating. She couldn't have been more than 8 by human standards. Her eyes had been bright even then. I cut her free as the ship fell apart around us. I remember wrapping her in my jacket, sealing my helmet over her smaller head, and launching the escape pod seconds before the reactor went critical. I handed her over to an Aurelian recovery fleet. They thanked me. Then they erased my name. Royal secrecy, I assumed. I never expected to see her again. Especially not like this. The Queen descended from the dais, her movements measured, predatory in their control. She stopped a few steps away from me, studying my face with unnerving intensity. "You claim this human saved your life," she said to her daughter. "I know he did," the princess replied. "I dreamed of him for years. I thought he was only a memory, or a wish." Her gaze met mine, filled with emotion so raw it made my chest ache. "You carried me through fire," she said softly. "You told me I would see the stars again." I swallowed. "I hoped you would." The hall erupted into chaos. A human saving the Aurelian heir was not a minor detail. It was a political earthquake. The queen raised one hand, and the chamber fell silent again. "Human," she said, "you will speak truthfully, or you will not leave this hall." I nodded. "Fair." I told them everything. The distress signal. The disobedience. The rescue. The escape. I expected suspicion. Instead, the queen's expression changed subtly, but unmistakably. It wasn't anger. It was calculation. "You saved the future ruler of Aurelia," she said at last. "Do you understand what that means?" "I didn't then," I said honestly. "I still don't." She turned away, addressing the court. "For 15 years, we believed the universe took pity on us that day," she said. "That fate intervened." Her eyes returned to me. "It seems fate had a name." The princess stepped closer, her voice trembling. "Mother, he never asked for anything. He left before I could even thank him." The queen studied her daughter for a long moment. Then she did something no one expected. She bowed. Not deeply, but unmistakably. Gasps echoed across the hall. "To save an Aurelian royal without expectation of reward," the queen said, "is an act beyond debt." I felt my knees weaken. "Your Majesty." "You will stay," she interrupted. "As our guest." I knew better than to refuse. The days that followed felt unreal. I was given chambers overlooking the floating gardens of Aurelia Prime. Servants bowed to me. Diplomats sought me out. Whispers followed wherever I went. The princess, Lyrian, visited often. At first, she spoke little, as if afraid I would vanish again. We walked among the gardens, sharing stories. She told me about her nightmares after the crash, how the image of a human face pulling her from the darkness had kept her grounded. "You were my proof that the galaxy wasn't cruel," she said once. I laughed softly. "I've seen plenty of cruelty." "Yes," she replied. "But you chose not to be part of it." Her admiration unsettled me. So did the tension growing in the court. Not everyone was pleased. Some nobles viewed my presence as a threat. Others saw opportunity. Rumors spread that the queen intended to use me as leverage in human-Aurelian relations. I wanted none of it. One night, the queen summoned me privately. "You are uncomfortable," she said. "I don't belong here," I replied. I did what any decent person would do. She studied me carefully. "Decent people are rare." She paused. "My daughter will rule one day. She must understand all species, all motivations, including humanity." I frowned. "And where do I fit in?" "You are proof," the queen said, "that humans are more than their reputation." Silence stretched between us. "I will not cage you," she added. "But I will ask something of you." "What?" "Stay. Teach her. Not as a subject. As yourself." I thought of Earth. Of quiet anonymity. Of a life where no one looked at me like I mattered to history. Then I thought of a terrified child trapped in a burning ship. "I'll stay," I said. The farewell ceremony came weeks later. I stood beside Lyrian as the court acknowledged the truth publicly, that a human had saved the Aurelian princess, and that debt would never be forgotten. When the assembly ended, she turned to me, eyes bright. "You came back," she said softly. I smiled. "I told you you'd see the stars again. I didn't say I wouldn't." She laughed, a sound full of warmth and promise. The Queen watched us from her throne, unreadable. I had walked into the room as no one. I left it as something far more dangerous. A human remembered by royalty. A symbol. And as the princess looked at me, not with awe, but with trust, I realized something profound. Saving her life hadn't changed her destiny. It had changed mine. And the galaxy would never forget it.